I coach people in two areas. One, either become a TEDx speaker, or what's evolved now is helping people get paid to speak, because I'm in the US. I'm like between a 10 and a 15K speaker. And that's a lot of learning, a lot of experience. That's taken me a while to get there. But now I help people who want to jump onto that one to many. So I just wanted to get so you had some clarity on what I speak on is not really what I coach on. What I coach on is my speaking.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Pedro, and today's guest is Elaine Powell, known as the Thought Disruptor, a keynote speaker who helps organizations elevate team performance and unlock real potential. She works with teams facing low morale, missed targets, and declining productivity, giving them practical tools to shift how they think, act, and perform under pressure. Through her Think Discipline methodology, focuses on who leaders and teams are being, not just what they're doing. Her work helps organizations build integrity, accountability, and productivity that lasts well beyond the keynote, turning everyday challenges into measurable results. Welcome to the show, Elaine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Pedro. And thank you for those listening.
I'm excited that you're here, And okay, before we get into what you do now, I'm curious how this all actually started. So what was going on in your life when coaching became more than just an idea?
Yes. I've been working with young offenders for 7 years, and I really loved it, but it wasn't enough. And I decided I was going to go off traveling around the world. So I put everything in storage and I went to 18 countries in 1 year. It was amazing. I wasn't working, so, a whole year of not working. And then when I came back, it just wasn't enough for me. I think, going out into the world, you expand who you are, you meet incredible people. And so I started looking for things that I could do in a new career that I didn't have to go back and study for 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, to become a psychologist or something like that. So I tried many different things. That entrepreneurial spirit was in me. So I tried doing property. It didn't really work out for me. I tried network marketing. And then somebody told me about a charity that went into schools delivering public speaking. And I'd been a member of something called Toastmasters. Are you aware of Toastmasters?
Me personally, no.
Okay. It's an amateur speaking club that's all around the world. I'm sure they'll be in Brazil. They're in mostly every city. And you can go twice a month and you practice 5-minute speeches. Someone gives you feedback. It's there to evolve you as in the art of speaking. It doesn't really teach you the business of speaking, but it teaches you how to speak. And it's such a supportive network that a lot of people, myself included, when I joined, I was very nervous speaking in front of people. And so they were very encouraging. They're there to support you, and it's super, super affordable. So because I'd been doing Toastmasters for like 6, 7 months, I had this history of working with young people. When the opportunity came to go into schools to deliver public speaking, I was like, that's a perfect fit. So that's where my kind of journey into the realms of being a public speaking coach, and that's more of what I coach on. It's not what I speak on anymore, but that's where it all started.
I love that. I love how you were talking about how you tried many different things, right? So sometimes people they look at someone and they're like, "Oh, she got it easy." No, "Oh, she's all that and she made it." Now, but they don't know the struggle, right? What happened in the backstage, let's call it like that. So, at what point did it stop feeling like a side thing or a calling and start feeling like an actual business you were responsible for?
Yeah, I think when I started telling people, what I coach on, they said, "Can you come and speak on that topic?" And I was like, okay. I think I have one of these characters that I don't think too much before I take action. I know sometimes us women, we can overthink too much and doubt ourselves. Can I do this? What if this happens? But I think I've just always been, oh, okay, and off I go, and then I'll fall and I'll pick myself back up again. And yeah, that's how it started, just going out speaking for free. And I remember my first speaking engagement. It was a room of 30 people. A friend had asked me to come and speak on a topic. And I was like, what topic? Like, give me one. Now it's like, these are my topics. And I think I spoke on confidence, something around confidence. And it's really, I can see why people get so enthralled by performance, because the connection with an audience, how you see them like react, what they come and say to you afterwards, it's really infectious. I was just, I was obsessed with it thereafter. So that's how it kind of started.
When you're in front of a great speaker, at least in my perspective, it gives you goosebumps, right? It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, 100%, I get that. And once you were out there helping people, right, Elaine, who did you naturally end up attracting? Because in the coaching space, especially, and like you told me yourself, we try sometimes to do embrace the entire world, let's say it like that. So when did you realize, yeah, these are the people I work best with?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was coaching organizations. So you can do B2B or B2C. There might be another B to something. I'm just not aware of it. They're the kind of main two ones. And so B2B, what would happen is I got well known, the more you go out speaking, the more people then will ask you to come and speak somewhere, or you just have a conversation with somebody and you say, yeah, I'm a speaker. And they go, oh, what do you speak on? That's the first thing they ask. And then they'll say, hopefully then the conversation will go, or a lot of mine came from referrals, people seeing me speak. And then they'd refer me to somebody else. But it's like a lead magnet. So I would go out speaking on communication skills at that time. I don't speak on that topic anymore. And then afterwards, after the speaking engagement, people would either come up to me and say, can you speak at our organization, or do you do training and workshops in that? So that was like my lead magnet. I would then go in, and I'd say coaching is for me more one-to-one. I don't know your definition of coaching. That's more how I see coaching. I know we have group coaching as well, but I was going in doing training. So you might see it as coaching. I kind of saw it as training. The B2C came in a bit later on, but I was going into organizations, delivering 1-day public speaking workshops, sometimes 2 days.
What were some of the things you experimented with as you figured out how to get visible and attract the right people, that right ICP?
Yeah, I don't think I was conscious of it when I first started training or coaching. And for those that aren't aware, to be is business to business. I'm a business, and then I go into organizations. And B2C is business owner to a customer, usually an individual person, which is where, I evolved and eventually went into that type of coaching. But yeah, repeat your question again.
I mean, in the early days, right? What were some of the things you tried with as you figured out how to get the right people, to write the people you said, hey, I need to find this exact type of people because this will, I don't know, more impact, more revenue, you name it.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't my thinking at the beginning. People do say, find your client avatar. I think a lot of us find it organically.
Mm-hmm.
We can think that we want to work with this type of people, but then they're not attracted to us. They say the audience will tell you what their need is. Like, clients will come to you and then you'll go, oh, I'm getting lots of executives, or I'm getting lots of coaches themselves. So I think mine's definitely been organic. The B2B was in a way easier because there's usually only 1 or 2 gatekeepers. And it's not their income, it's not their money. So they're a bit more inclined to like book you. Whereas a business to an individual person, they've worked hard for that money. They really want to make sure that they're going to get the end result. So that B2C has taken a longer time for me. And I always used to say no to people who wanted individual coaching because they really want that result. And you really have to know how to deliver on that result, because we know there's a lot of unhappy people who've been coached and they're not getting the result that they'd paid for. So it's been organic for me.
Yeah, I love that because I had guests that were like talking to me and they're like, Pedro, it is coaching for specific women, 30 to 45, but I got these requests from men that they want to be coached by me, and they shift their entire business because of that. So in a way, I get it. It is organic and it needs to have that connection, right? And sometimes you just don't attract a certain type of people. That makes perfect sense. And it's only fair. Now, let's talk about mechanics behind the scenes for a moment, right? So when someone decides to work with you, let's say they've been into an event or a referral happened. So what does that actually look like from their perspective? The onboarding, how did that happen?
Yeah, see, my business is slightly different now because back in the day, I was going out speaking about speaking. So it was very easy for me to either do workshops or for someone to come to me after to say, oh, do you coach me on speaking? But now, so when I first started out, especially in the world of speaking, you have your area of expertise and that's what people are asking you to speak on. And I love speaking about communication skills, but I loved mindset. And I'd been doing personal development for like 15 years. And I really wanted to go out speaking on thinking and mindset, but I felt I didn't have the experience or the knowledge to do that. But an event organizer asked me, what other topics can you speak on? I was like, oh, I can speak on mindset. I said, okay. And so gradually, like the speaking was here and the mindset was here. And gradually it began to overtake the speaking. So when I go out now speaking, I'm speaking on thinking concepts. And so the back end of the speaking concepts is maybe a 3-hour group workshop or a 3-4 part series. So when it comes to public speaking or speaking, it's a different back end now because I do Facebook ads and webinars. So let me just take a step back. How did that come about? So I was going out speaking, delivering workshops. That was like my lead generator. And then the pandemic happened. And a lot of speakers said, oh dear. And we all jumped online. As you remember that mass exodus of people like jumping online, figure out, and lots of people who hadn't been in that industry suddenly became coaches. And so I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to, I can do virtual presenting, but that's going to be less. Whereas coaching, so I was like, well, public speaking. And then I ran a year-long program on getting paid to speak. I don't know why I did a whole year as my first coaching program. Goodness. I was regretting it like 3 months into it. I was like, Elaine, that's way too long for your first time. So I learned from that. And then, I made it shorter. And then I jumped on something called Clubhouse. Do you remember Clubhouse? It was an audio-based platform, social platform where we'd have rooms talking about specific topics. And I would go into the ones talking about TED and TEDx because I'd been a TEDx curator in London for 3 years. And everybody on that panel was either TEDx coaches, TEDx speakers, but none of them had run events. So I kind of contacted the main person and said, oh yeah, I want to be on your panel. I can give a different perspective. And I started to watch people like give lead magnets. If I'll give you a free ebook and you can jump into my mailing list. And it was pandemic. So I was looking for how can I make some money out of my skill set, my expertise. So that was I think that was my first foray into the whole mechanics of, give a lead magnet, create the back end, the emails, the email automations. And then I started to run, I think it was like every 3-week masterclass. I'd call it a masterclass. So over the years now that's evolved. The past 3 years, I ran a group TEDx program to help people become TEDx speakers. And so it would be Facebook ads, a webinar. And then because mine was high ticket, it was book a call. And so, I had to learn the sales coaches. You have to learn sales, the sales process. And then you also know how to, you can do one-to-one, but at some point it's going to become very limiting. So then I had to learn it was easy for me, easier, I think, because I'm a speaker. So I know how to manage groups. So in terms of a Zoom group, I train people. It was easy for me to run group programs. So that's kind of where I am now. I go out speaking on thinking disciplines and do some workshops on it, but I don't really coach people on it. I coach people in two areas. One, either become a TEDx speaker, or what's evolved now is helping people get paid to speak, because I'm in the US. I'm like between a 10 and a 15K speaker. And that's a lot of learning, a lot of experience. That's taken me a while to get there. But now I help people who want to jump onto that one-to-many. So I just wanted to get so you had some clarity on what I speak on is not really what I coach on. What I coach on is my speaking.
I love that. Okay. I mean, your work seems pretty involved, right? We're talking about speaking gigs. We're talking about training people towards the speaking gigs also. So how do you think about managing your time and energy so the business doesn't start owning you?
Pedro, I feel like it still does. I feel like, and it is like I mostly on average work 12, 13 hours a day. And the thing is, I love it. I enjoy it. So I don't want to stop sometimes. I have to stop myself from working. So I give myself like Saturday off and sometimes a bit of Sunday. But I do, I do
just a
work.
bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I've had team members, and then that's kind of ebbed and flowed, depending on how my business is going. And now I've got a couple of more teams and members. So I'm looking to scale now so that I can have more free time, because it's not sustainable.
No. Okay. At least you're aware of it. I love it. Now, Elaine, looking forward a bit, what's the direction you're aiming this business towards? Are you thinking more about growth, leverage, building a team, or refining what already works? What feels most exciting right now?
Still the speaking. That's always going to be like I like performance. So that's part of it. And it's a great lead generator. It's a pity I'm not speaking on the topic that I coach on. That would have been perfect alignment. If I was talking about communication skills, then that would have been such a great lead magnet, but I like talking about thinking. I think it was November last year, I hired a marketing team. So they've been working with me on all the elements it takes to kind of scale a online group coaching program. I ran it by myself for like a year and a half. Then I stopped for a year. It was getting too much. I felt burnt out. So I did get burnt out. And then I was just coaching high ticket one-to-ones on getting paid to speak or become a TEDx speaker. And then last year I was like, no, I actually need to have a team behind me because I want to scale and I want to be out there making more of a difference to more people than just these one-to-ones. So, now I have a team behind me, someone who, manages the Facebook ads, someone who does the graphics, whether it's on the landing page, the Facebook ads, someone who does the copy for emails, landing pages, then someone who looks after the back end. We use Go High Level. So the SMS, all the things that go on that platform. And I have a couple of researchers for TEDx. So it is basically scaling, but you can't scale really without a team.
Yeah, you have to find someone that can replace you so you can be in your zone of genius, right? So you can be at the speaking gig. So you don't end up missing those important emails. You don't end up missing follow-ups. So that makes perfect sense, Elaine. No worries about that. And, even when things are going well, there's always something under construction, right? So what's the main thing you're actively working on or trying to prove in your business right now?
Yeah, I think it's the thing that a lot of coaches are trying to work through, which is getting qualified leads. Qualified, and it depends on what your qualified means for you. For me, it means people who are 5 to 10 years already in their area of expertise, and this is like the next level for them. So sometimes I get people who are starting out coaching and they come to me and they see that speaking is a viable route for them, but I'm just very transparent and I say, how many rabbits can you chase at once?
Mm.
And they usually say one. I said, yeah, speaking is a long-term strategy and it works so much better when you've already got consistent clients, you've got consistent income. And now you're thinking, okay, now what's next for me to raise my visibility, my credibility? Whereas if you try and go into this world of speaking and you still don't have enough clients and you don't have enough money, well, you're going to be diluting your time and attention. And that's what I see a lot of coaches do. They've got the shiny ball syndrome going on. You know, the shiny ball syndrome?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, there's a shiny ball. Oh, like I
Oh, a
actually have
butterfly.
one.
A
Here's another.
butterfly.
Yeah, here's another shiny ball. Here's a shiny ball. And they don't
Mhm.
focus on one thing until it's complete and solid. You can breathe. And then you go, okay, now let me give my time, my attention to something else. So, you know, for me, there's always, and a lot of coaches of finding people who are at that right stage. They
Mm.
want it now. They're thinking, like, I know that that's part of our conversation in the enrollment when we speak to a potential new client is to get them present to all their pains, all their concerns, and their vision of where they want to be. And then they have, this is where you are now. How are you going to get there? And people who can get past this and not, oh, what if this, what if that? And then let me go and think about it. And then they go and think themselves out of it. So I think we're always trying to find people who are a bit like us, who just like, I'm looking for those who just, let's go.
I love that. You know, the shiny board or shiny object or the butterfly, right? I had people in the past that were like my bosses that were like that. So they kept changing projects and you never knew if it clicked or not, right? And also as an entrepreneur, I need to know I need to focus on one big thing, you know, and move the needle towards that. So that makes perfect sense. And Elaine, I want to do something now a little lighter for a moment. Yeah, I've got a quick rapid fire game if you're up for it.
Yeah, always.
Okay. Think about investments you've made in the business, right? Coaching, programs, hires, tool, marketings, any of it. You know, I'll throw out a prompt and you answer with whatever comes to mind first. Stories are welcome. Okay. What was the very first investment you ever made into your business?
I've made like coaches, you know, speaker coaches along the route, but I think the biggest investment was the pandemic, where I knew that in order to grow a business, you have to have an email list. And I didn't have a big email list. So I spent, I think it's like 12,000 on learning how to run summits. You know, the summits where you have like 20 guests and then you interview them or they have slots. So I ran a summit and got my email list up to, I think, 1,200. And then I ran a webinar and that's when I sold that year-long speaker program.
Right.
I made about 50,000. So it was great for my first ever launch of anything. But yeah, I think that's the most significant. But I've had speaker coaches along the way.
Okay. And what's the most recent investment you've put money into?
Yeah, this marketing team that's a team of 6 that are helping me to scale and run my program to support people to become TEDx speakers.
Okay. And looking back, what investment paid off the most and why?
Well, I think I have to go back to the, I think it was a personal development course that I did in 2000 with Landmark Worldwide, and I'd been working in law. And a lot of people don't seem to reluctant to pay on personal development. I don't know why. I'm like, that's the engine that's running your ship. And if your engine isn't running, if your engine is going to kaput soon, or it's got rust in the carburetor, it's going to break down. Why don't you spend time developing your inner self? So I did a lot of courses with Landmark Worldwide and transformed my life, my career. I left a career in law, went to work with young people, became more fearless, understood me. So I think that has been the best. And I still do their programs 20 something years on.
Okay. And what's one investment you'd think twice about if you could rewind, you know, kind of wish your money back?
My gosh. I don't know. I don't know if any of them, Pedro, if I'm being honest, because I come from the thinking that there's no getting it wrong. because I'm always learning something. And even ones that didn't pay off financially or the way I thought they did, they always taught me something. I think it's a waste if you go, oh, I really regret this. Well, what was the learning? There's always two sides to everything. Two sides, night and day, black and white. Yes, it didn't work the way you thought it would, but what else did you learn? How did you grow? What was the hindsight? So I don't think there is any investment that I'm like, no.
Yeah, I like the mindset. And hearing those side by side, how has your mindset around investing in the business changed over time? If it has, right? It doesn't sound like it did, but let's hear it.
How has it shifted at all? I think I'm just more aware of paying somebody who has expertise to get me there quicker, because I see it so much with people. Their worry more is about money than it is about time. Time is never coming back. I see people who go away, they think about something 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then they come back and then they go, oh, I regret waiting for so long. Well, you valued money more than time. Time is precious. Time is valuable. I rather pay somebody who can get me there much quicker and actually that will earn me more money than people trying to do things by themselves. I'm like, why? Why? Just because of the money. You can make money back just like that. You can borrow it. You can put it on a credit card and pay it off. That's what I did with that 12,000 build in my emails. Put it on a credit card, made back 55,000, paid off the credit card. There you go. Bish, bash, bosh. Done. That's very British. Bish, bash, bosh.
Actually, I'm going to take note of that. Over the pond, right? Let's talk about British. You've been around long enough to see trends come and go. People give business advice nonstop, especially online. Now, what's something you hear repeated a lot that you think people misunderstand or overvalue?
In terms of coaching? Or
in terms of business, of coaching, you name it. It's like something that it's online and you're like, oh my God, this is not really, people are really not getting. Or I'll give you a quick example. It's like, I heard people talking about grinding, right? And just put it in the hours. And sometimes it's not just about grinding, it's about working smart. So that's just an example on top of my head. But what would be one that you think people just don't get it?
I say it does take a lot to have individual people trust you enough to put their money in you. And sometimes it's not trust in you, it's actually trust in themselves. It's like a mirror image. It's being reflected back to them, but they're kind of unaware of that. And I'd say just growing your business, it takes time. And I think people think that they give up jobs and they think that they're going to make the same amount of money in 6 months. No, it must take you about 2 years. It takes a while. You have to water it. And the other thing I'd say is connections, knowing people who know people, or just sometimes it's very isolating being a coach. And so this year is really about connecting frequently with other people, having conversations. Just even in a conversation gives you aha moments versus working in silo. I think so many times we work by ourselves as coaches and we don't have enough conversations with peers, just other people in our network. So now I'm in LA, I'm going to be out there networking more and more and more, joining associations, just having more conversations, because that's where transformation happens, is in the communication.
Yeah, I love that. Especially when we're like, and I'm also a career coach. So sometimes we see people talking like, oh, he's a competitor, right? I'm not going to talk with him. But that sometimes it's just like coming from a scarcity mindset and not in an abundance mindset, which is he could be networking with me, people that is not actually his ICP, and I could be doing the same stuff. So that makes perfect sense. And I love that. So you did got the question right. I love it.
Well, in the world of speaking, we usually network closely with people who speak on our topics, because many times they can't speak for whatever reason. So they'll recommend me, or I'll recommend them, or I'll speak at an engagement and I know this isn't career coaching, but a lot of coaches aspire to be speakers, but it's a good example of it. I'll speak at an event and obviously they're not going to have me back the next year. So they say, who can you recommend? And so I recommend my peers. So yeah, that's why even though you're in the same field, I don't see, it's the abundance. Come from the world of abundance. There's enough for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. And on the flip side, What's something boring or not as hype that you wish more people actually paid attention to?
Boring. That's got like hype. Are you talking about coaches or?
You name it. Business, coaches, you can pick whatever you want. This is your spotlight.
I think knowing how to sell. I think a lot of people don't know how to sell. And even there's a different language I use, really. People don't know the enrollment. You have to enroll people into something that's possible, and then you can register them. Then you can, then you can sign them up. But if they're not enrolled, so I don't usually say the sales conversation bit. No one will understand what I mean if I say the enrollment conversation, but you have to enroll them into what's possible. And I think people don't realize that your business is sales, because without sales, you have no business, you have no money. So really understand what it takes to take people from point A to point B, that they can see what's possible for them in their life.
Yeah, this is like the analogy of the summer body, right? Everyone wants to the summer body, but nobody wants to put the workout every day, right? And sales is just part of the workout. It's like the enrollment, and of course, sales is part of the enrollment process. But it's like, yeah, man, you're not gonna do everything all the time that you love, right? There are some times that you just need to do it and just push through it to get to the peak, to get to that summer body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, or you pay someone, that's the make a list. We know that one. Make a list of all the things that you don't like doing or it's not worth your time, and then pay someone $7, or $10, wherever they are, to do. Like I have a database of all the open TEDx applications where people can just sign up right now in the US and the UK. It used to take me hours and hours. So now I just pay someone $70 a week and they update it and they do that all for me. And that's not what I charge. And, that's like $8 an hour. I don't charge that. I charge a lot more. So it's worth spending that money so you can focus on the value that you can bring at the price you can bring.
Yeah, but there's something that I need to emphasize and highlight that I love is the fact that you've been there and done that. So it's not just outsourcing, it is outsourcing, but you know the process and you know what good looks like, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. So, Elaine, before we close this out, if someone resonated with what you shared and wants to follow your work, where should they go?
Well, yeah, they can find me. Just type in Elaine Powell on Google and you'll find me. Sometimes UK distinguishes me a bit more. You can find me on LinkedIn, Elaine Powell UK, Instagram, Elaine Powell UK, Facebook, Elaine Powell UK. Like, you make it easy for people. Don't give them all these different tags.
Right. I love that. There were a few moments from this chat that really stood out to me. Okay. First, how open you are, right? You tried so many different things and you're like, and I did that. And I had a law, I tried law. I was, you tried so many stuff. It's not like I had this perfect life and everything happened. And so, I love that, being vulnerable. I think that's the key word, is vulnerability, because more often than not, we require that from our coaches, right? But sometimes we don't see coaches being so vulnerable. So I need to commend you on that. And I thought it was curious, the fact that you travel 18 countries and you're doing this for what? You told me pre-interview, 18 years, right? Pre-podcast, you were like, hey, he's been doing 18 years. So that's a match. So then again, about vulnerability, a year-long speaking coaching program you made, and you're like, why did I do 1 year? I love it. I love how authentic you are. And I love the fact that you're easy to jump on stuff you love, right? Oh, there's a mindset opportunity for me to talk about. I'm going to hop on. I love that. That's almost like a driving force of nature. And as much as there is ups and downs, and sometimes you're like, oh, I don't think this through right. But at the same time, it is what it is. And it brought you here where you are right now. Okay. So I commend you on that as well. And I gotta say, I love the fact that you told me the business is still kind of owning you, Elaine, you don't try to play an act, and it tells. And this is why you're speaking, I would say, gigs, and you're speaking career It's so great and so awesome because it is just Elaine by Elaine, right? So I really appreciate you taking the time being open with this. It was great having you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I do have a team of 7 now.
Of course.
But it is me front and center. And can I just say one more thing?
Absolutely.
It's to all the ladies out there, the women out there, because I've found over the years an example of quick story. I used to go when I went to schools and I was doing public speaking workshops, and I'd have 15 boys, 15 girls, and the aim of the workshop was to get them to do a 2-minute speech without any notes at the end of the work day. So they're all very scared. And I'd do a icebreaker, and then I'd say, "Can I have 5 people to the front of the room?" Do you know who'd run to the front of the room? The boys. And the girls would just sit there. And this happened so many times. I had to stop and go, look, I see what's happening. The boys, they just go for it. They don't think about it. But the girls, after I'd spoken to them, they're overthinking. Can I do this? Am I good enough? Am I ready? And I had to say, look, girls, these boys are going to turn into men and they're going to keep on running. And you're going to jump into this world of business, coaching, or you're an executive. And if you keep on overthinking things, you're going to be on the back foot while all these men are going to be getting the jobs because they're not thinking about it too much. So I want to say, ladies, if you think it feels aligned with you and your emotions, and your intuition says go for it. Your job is you think it and this is the result. You have to shorten that thinking process and just trust yourself. You can do it, because trust me, men aren't thinking too much. They're falling forward and they're learning as they go, and we need to adopt that a lot more. So I just wanted to give that to our ladies. Stop overthinking and take action and learn through taking action. You won't learn. You know what thinking gets you, Pedro?
You tell me.
More thinking. That's all it gets you. It doesn't. That's all it gets you is more thinking. The only thing that gets you results is action, action, action. So you've got to take action, learn from it. Like in the world of speaking, our performances are never perfect. It's this worked, this didn't work. If this didn't work, what can I put in place the next time? The next time I do it, I perform. This worked. This didn't work. That's how you have to, don't think it's going to be perfect, ladies. Let go of perfection. I just wanted to say that to all the women out there.
I love that. Okay. So if the ladies got this right, learn from men and don't think too much. Okay. Just do it.
Just do it.
Love it. Great having you, Elaine.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for the person listening.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.